Hey everybody, and welcome back to my look at the Super Smash Bros. Series. If you missed the first part, which had a bit of a history of the series, as well as a look at Super Smash Bros. 64, you can click that annotation right there. I'll give you a few seconds. Alright, cool. With that out of the way, let's finally jump into the game that everyone goes crazy over in the series, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Alright, in the last video I was being a bit of a goofball, but this time I think I got it right. Let's just move the controller over here, put this in here, top side up, snap it in, we're good to go. Alright, we may as well just start talking about Melee's opening first, because holy crap, it is so freaking good. Just look at all of the stinking Pokemon! The 64 opening only had 4 Yoshis. This one has all of them. Literally, every Yoshi. And then the Ice Climbers are here too? What? Not to mention the music that plays here too is just glorious. And yep, that's still great. 10 years later, this opening is still one of the greatest things ever. And then you get past the title screen and even the menu music is full of hype. Melee let you know right off the bat that you were in for something special. 14 brand new fighters, 27 stages, a handful of new single player modes, more ways to customize versus matches including a bunch of new items, and also introducing one of the best parts of the series, trophies. And the even crazier thing about this is that this game only took 2 years to develop because they wanted to make sure it was going to be out by the GameCube's near launch. That's crazy! One of the best things about Melee is Nintendo finally going all out when it comes to fan service. Just look at the roster. The Ice Climbers only appeared in one game before this that from what I can tell barely anybody even liked. There's Martha and Roy from Fire Emblem, which only like 15 people outside of Japan knew of at the time. And then there's Mr. Game & Watch. Like, have you ever played a Game & Watch before? I know they were a big part of Nintendo's history and all, but like, what? But the fan service really goes all out when it comes to the trophies. By just playing the game or using coins in the lottery, you can collect a whopping 290 of them. Mainly of characters, items, and whatnot from the game itself, but a lot of just random stuff that you probably never even heard of before. Oh, you know, everyone's favorite character, Ayumi Takibana from Famicom Detective Club. Oh my god, Pit, I am so sorry you once looked like that. They even have characters from, at the time, unreleased games, like Animal Crossing, Pikmin, and, what the hell is that? Huh, apparently this thing comes from a game called Cubivore. Alright, you know, this is actually a game I don't know anything about, so let's go online and see how much it goes for, because maybe I'll pick it up. Alright, let's go back to Smash. One of these sort of controversial things that Melee introduced are clones. 6 of the characters here play almost exactly the same to others with only minor differences. People have very strong opinions on them, but I'm actually okay with the idea of clones. Sometimes the character is slower but stronger, like Dr. Mario is to Mario. Or sometimes they can have different attributes, like Roy basically being Marth with some extra fire. Or sometimes they can just make no sense whatsoever, like how Ganondorf is a clone of Captain Falcon. That makes no friggin' sense. Or sometimes they could provide the most useless character the series has seen yet, Pichu. Seriously, Pichu is weaker than Pikachu and damages itself in the process. Seriously, how does one conjure up that line of thinking? It makes absolutely no sense. And I mean, just look at Pichu's trophy description. It even says right there that Pichu is perfect for handicap battles. Like, alright, just start talking about the modes. All this talking about Pichu is giving me a goddamn migraine. First up is the revamped single-player mode from Smash 64, now called Classic Mode, where you go through a whole bunch of different fights and a few minigames spread throughout. But instead of having set opponents, now there's just set rules. Like you start off with a 1-on-1 with the random fighter, and then you do a 2-on-2 with random fighters. You eventually fight 10 of a single fighter, except they're all weaker, and you end off the same way too with the fight against Master Hand. This time he's equipped with an evil laugh, though. Yeah, the person who was playing with their toys back in the day is going through a bit of a dark period in their life. It's fine, they'll come through eventually. It's basically the same fight as before, except if you're good enough throughout the entire mode, you'll run into his wacky and overly excited cousin, Crazy Hand. He's like Master Hand, except crazy! Next up is Adventure Mode, where you actually play through proper stages based on Nintendo worlds, like Mushroom Kingdom, a temple in Zelda, and a Metroid-styled escape sequence. And these actual stages are really cool, but otherwise it's just another way to do a set order of battles. Honestly, I really don't get the love for this mode. Those stages are a great change of pace, but a lot of the battles break the whole idea of going on an adventure. Like here, fight 2 mini Donkey Kongs, then fight a big Donkey Kong. Was that, you don't have Falco yet? That's fine, just fight Fox twice, it's okay. And what's even weirder about the whole thing is that the final boss is just a bigger Bowser. I mean, okay, let's just beat him and end the adventure, I guess. Well then, that was sort of an anticlimactic end to all of this. Wait, whoa, what's happening? Whoa, okay. And then if you're good enough here, you're suddenly fighting Giga Bowser. And I mean seriously now, look at this thing. Can you really think that something so cute can make something so evil? I mean, look at it. Alright, Sakurai, you win again. You alright? Then there's All-Star Mode, where you fight every character in the game, except you only have one life to do so, and you can only restore health between fights 3 times throughout the entire mode. Accompanied by a pretty beautiful looking field with a remix of Kirby Superstar music. Ah, I am such a Kirby nerd. And then there's 51 different event matches, simply throwing a bunch of new fighting scenarios at you. And I always thought this mode was really cool, even if some of the events are totally random. Take out a bunch of Kirbys on Corneria with only the Warp Star? Okay, if you say so. And yeah, can't forget about Event 51 too. Hahaha! Woo boy, I suck at Smash. Last up here is the Stadium, which has the returning target test game, home run contest where you can beat the crap out of and then knock out a sandbag to see how far it'll go. And lastly, there's Multi-Man Melee, which tests you to see how you can do against a bunch of fighting wireframes, with either a set number of fighters, a set time limit, no time limit whatsoever, and then there's Cruel Melee, which they are not kidding around when they say the word cruel. Alright, Cruel Melee. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm thinking Ice Climbers. That sounds good. Let's give it a shot. Wow. I don't think I've ever done better before in my life. Versus mode has a few new options in there too. There's a sudden death mode where basically one-hit kills, you can make everyone big or make everyone small. There's a stamina mode, it's all pretty cool stuff. But then there's also stuff like fixed camera mode, which is just dumb. And single button mode where you can't do any specials, which is even dumber. They even added an entirely different fighting style called coin mode, where hitting people drops coins, and the rankings are set depending on who has more of them. And, yeah, that's really dumb, too. Can we go back to stock and time matches like a normal person? Please? And now that we're finally talking about the main gameplay itself, it's actually not too different from before. Everything is a lot faster now, smash attacks can be charged up, and with the addition of side specials and air dodging, there's just a lot more freedom in the things that you can do. It also really helps that the GameCube has one of the greatest controllers of all time. But aside from that, this is still the same Smash Bros. As before, just sort of better. I don't even think you can argue that comparison, really. And I guess I could talk about all of the more competitive aspects about Melee, like wave dashing, L canceling, and all those sort of fancy moves, but I'm really not good at any of that sort of stuff, so I'm not even gonna bother talking about it. No items! Fox only! Final destination! Overall, Super Smash Bros. Melee is of course a fantastic game and well worth all of the praise that it gets, and it is one of the go-to multiplayer games for a reason. At its core, it's just a total blast, although there are still some questionable choices like Ganondorf, Pichu, Adventure Mode, and don't even get me started on some of the stages like Rainbow Cruise, and Venom, and Icicle Mountain, But alright, we got one more game to look at here, Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii. Now this has to be one of the most hyped video games of all time. Back in 2007, Nintendo would release information on Brawl every single weekday. Not this random screenshot stuff that Smash 4 got, legitimate info no matter how useless it may be. Whoa, you mean to tell me that a game in 2008 is gonna have widescreen support? Woo boy, next thing you're gonna tell me is that you can erase all of your data in the options menu whenever you want. Oh my god, you can, you beautiful bastards! They would even announce newcomers completely out of nowhere. October 10th, 2007, the day they announced Sonic? Holy crap, that was a day that shook the world, let me tell you. It also kinda helps that Brawl's theme song is like way more epic than it really deserves to be. So yeah, the game had a lot of excitement going for it, and you combine that with the fact that this game had 7 years before it as opposed to Melee's 2, this game had a lot to live up to, and did it live up to all the hype? Well? Okay, seriously now, no more joking around, I'm pretty sure I got this one right. Perfect. Let's just get this out of the way first. I feel that Brawl excels Melee in one area specifically, easily, and that is fan service. There are now 544 brand new trophies, and they're spread across a ton of more universes like Hotel Dusk, Owendon, and even some random games from the playable characters universes like Mario Strikers and everybody's favorite game, Donkey Kong Barrel Blast. Don't play that game. Oh hey, it's Ridley! Hi, it's so nice to see you again. You're looking pretty big, as always. Then there's a ton of static images in the form of stickers, gorgeous cutscenes from the new adventure mode, being able to call upon random Nintendo characters to help you fight with assist trophies, playable retro demos called masterpieces, and just a heavenly soundtrack. Seriously, the game features over 200 pieces of music with just a ton of great remixes. They made a song that mostly revolves around PictoChat's sound effects, and they even remixed music from one of the most obscure games on the Game Boy in Japan exclusively, simply titled X. And I could probably guarantee that at least 95% of us never even heard of that game until this remix came out. Seems more like X marks the not, if you know what I'm saying. Don't worry about it. Seriously, don't worry about it. I hate myself for that joke too. Now when it comes to the rest of the game, that's where things get a bit iffy. To me, it really seems like for every step forward, they took 2 steps back. Brawl's character roster is awesome, with a bunch of newcomers that just fit in with the group, like Wario, Diddy Kong, and Captain Olimar. Toon Link replaced Young Link, Pit finally returned after seeing how ugly he was in Melee, freaking Rob the Robot for those of you out there who thought Game & Watch wasn't crazy enough, and even Sonic the Hedgehog and Solid Snake. Now personally, Snake is about as random as you could get, but finally, we can have the one-on-one Mario and Sonic fight that we've wanted for years! We did lose a few characters in the process though, like Dr. Mario, Roy, Pichu, thankfully, and Mewtwo, which people are still upset about, but overall it's still a pretty nice selection of fighters. But then on the other hand, the stages are really not all that great. There are some perfectly fine ones like Delfino Plaza, Lilac Cruise, I even like WarioWare and PictoChat, but man, a stage based on a level from Arcade Donkey Kong, Mario Bros 2, New Pork City is just way too big for its own good, and then there's Hannenbo. The person who thought of this stage clearly was a sociopath because this is like the worst stage ever. Not just in Smash, just sort of like in general. And then when it comes to all the different modes, it's mostly the same as Melee, just with a few minor tweaks. You got Classic, All-Star, Event Mode, Home Run Contest, Multi-Man Brawl, and Target Test. And they all basically work just like they did before, except you can actually do all of these with a friend except for Classic Mode. And really, the only one that sucks now is Target Test. In Melee, each character had one stage that let you test their unique strengths. But now here in Brawl, there's only one per difficulty, resulting in 5, aka it is super lame. There's a mode where you can make your own stages, but you're incredibly limited in all of your options. There was also an online mode, which, albeit you can't experience anymore nowadays anyway, but even when you could, you wouldn't want to because it was a complete laggy mess. And of course, there is one more mode, the one that probably had the most hype behind it throughout the entire game, Subspace Emissary, the new adventure mode. Regardless of everything else, this was gonna be it. A huge adventure spanning multiple original worlds, and all of these characters are gonna join forces to take down these things. It seemed really cool! And then you start to play it, and it starts to drag on, and oh my goodness, it takes about 8 to 10 hours to complete, which is way too many hours. Like I said earlier, I'll give the mode this. The cutscenes are awesome to look at, and we do get to see Captain Falcon relentlessly kill a group of Pikmin. So that's nice. And while calling Subspace Emissary awful would just be a gross over-exaggeration, it all ends off with the Great Maze. A giant, well, maze that takes over an hour to complete. And all of that work just to see Sonic be the force that saves everyone from this thing? Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'll pass. Again, thanks though, really. I appreciate it, really. And this is kind of a minor thing, but just look at Mario's incredibly detailed overalls. I don't think the world is ready for Mario's realistic overalls. Now, if it was just all of the extra modes that were the issue, that would be fine, because Smash is really all about the smashing. But they decided to make Brawl slower than Melee. Like, a lot slower and a lot floatier. And they added random tripping. Yep, there it is. Migraine's back. Okay, before people go crazy in the comments, don't get me wrong, Smash is still fun on its own and I do enjoy Brawl from time to time. But really, the slower speed just makes Brawl less fun than Melee to me. I do think the addition of Final Smashes is really cool though. Fighter-exclusive finishing moves that you can get by breaking the randomly appearing Smash Ball. And it's cool not just because of the move itself, but because it changes the whole dynamic of a fight in an instant. But even then, there's still a few weird choices. Like, why in the holy hell does Wolf have a Landmaster? The Landmaster is intended for the good guys like Fox and, that bird who likes his bread.
Hands off my prey!
Not the spunky anti-hero. And then there's Luigi's, which is like... what? And also, where the hell is the guy that screams the name of the game at the start? That's just wrong! Now I know I just ended up speeding through Brawl, but really there's not a whole lot to talk about here. The core gameplay is almost exactly the same, except slower and floatier, and for every cool new thing that they added something dumb, if not more so as well. I'll give Super Smash Bros. Brawl credit in 3 areas. The fan service, like I said before, is just great, just all around. And then there's the challenge board, which has 128 different rewards that unlock by doing damn near anything. Like doing 10 coin battle. Oh, damn it, that's right, they brought back the coin battles too. And lastly, there's the Chronicle, which lists every single Nintendo published game released at the time, which is cool, solely because it's a reminder that they actually published 2 Hamtaro games for the Game Boy. That will never not be weird. Now let's be real here, at the end of the day, the debate between Melee and Brawl is probably going to be going on for years to come, and even though I am on the Melee side of things, I can at least admit that Brawl is still a good game. And of course, I can't forget to mention Project M, which is a huge fan mod for Brawl. It was made by fans who want to tweak the game to their liking, like even bringing back Roy and Mewtwo, but honestly, I've only barely played it, so like Melee's more competitive movesets, I probably shouldn't be talking about it all that much. Man, that was a lot of Smash to go over in such a short amount of time. Every game in this series is great, and while each does have its shortcomings, some more than others, it still deserves to be one of Nintendo's best franchises and deserves every bit of love that it gets. And that is going to wrap it up when I look back at the Super Smash Bros. Series, but, as probably everyone out there knows at this point, Super Smash Bros. 4 is finally here now too. Well, kinda. At the time of this review, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U is still not out yet, so we gotta wait a little while longer, but of course I'm going to be talking about these games too, but at a much later date. As for next time, there's a series of games that a lot of people have been wanting to see me do for quite a long time now, so I think it's finally time I have a new marathon on my hands. Woo boy. Wish me luck. And all of you guys out there have a smashing day! Hey everyone, I want to thank all for watching, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to click that subscribe button down there to know when each new episode comes out. I'm sure plenty of you know exactly what my next Dude reviews are going to be on now, so you definitely want to stay tuned for those. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook to stay updated, and if you don't know already, I played a little bit of Melee's Adventure Mode on my Let's Play channel, which you can get to by clicking the video on the screen right there. Just, you know, before you go watch it, don't expect me to be any good at it, because I'm not. Also, I'm sorry for that smashing pun that just happened. Alright, who am I kidding? No, I'm not. Bye!